Hello, my name is Keshwani. That's Keshwani, Keshwani. We are here because we want to prepare for the GMAT. We have been solving GMAT math problems out of this book here, GMAT Review, the official guide, the 13th edition. If you do not own this book already, purchase one immediately. You're going to need it. The problem that we are about to solve is the very last one that you will find on page number 278. Please turn to page 278, and today is our lesson number 56. Lesson number 56. Here we are told that we have just taken a random sample. We have just taken a random sample of 80 people. We have taken a random sample of 80 people. The question simply is, in our sample, how many of them are college graduates? That's what it is. How many of them are going to be college graduate? Let's see what the first statement tells us. It says, in the sample, the number of adults who are not college graduates is 3 times the number who are college graduates. All right. So the first statement tells us that not college graduates is 3 times the number of graduates, which is said, let's call this non-college graduate, let's call it N. N is 3 times the college graduate. That's our equation. Is that enough for us to figure out how many are graduates in our sample of 80? And the answer is yes, it is enough. This statement by itself is enough. A, D, B, C, E. A, D, B, C, E. Since the first statement by itself is enough, the answer cannot be B, C, or E. It's got to be either A or a D. Now, in case you are having some trouble, or even if you're not having some trouble, purely for the learning purposes, let's actually do it out. In the real example, we will not do it out, obviously, because it's not necessary. You just have to be able to realize that it is enough. Why is it enough? Because we are told there are total 80 people. A total of 80 people. So 80 must equal the number of non-graduate students, or number of non-graduate adults rather, in our survey, and the number of graduate adults. And we are told the non-graduates are 3 times the graduates. So we can substitute this n equals to 3g in here. N equals to 3g plus a g. So 4g equals 80. Therefore g must equals 20. There you go. The question simply was, how many of them are graduates? 20 of them are graduates in our survey of 80. Because 60 must be non-graduate. Why 60? Because we had been told that the number of non-graduates is 3 times the number of graduates. If the number of non-graduates is 3 times the number of graduates, the ratio is 60 to 20. That's all. 60 to 20. Therefore, there are 20 graduates on our survey. The first statement does it by itself. As I said before a second ago, this work that we actually did out, all of this work that you see, it's not something that we will do in a real exam. You just have to be able to realize immediately like that we do have sufficient data, hence the data sufficiency. Nobody's actually asking us to do any work out, you understand? Anyway, the first statement by itself does the job. Let's look at second statement. Let's see if second statement is any good. If it turns out the second statement by itself is also sufficient, the answer would be D. And if it turns out the second statement is no good, answer will be A. The second statement they tell us that non-graduate, non-college graduate, not college grads is 40 more than the number of college grads. Now we can continue with our same notation. Not college graduates is what we are calling N. So we are told that N is means equal, is 40 more than the grads. Or to be more appropriate, we should write N is whatever the number of grads is and a 40 more. That equation by itself is also enough, because remember our first equation here, 80, tells us this equation, our first equation is n plus g equals 80. So we have two equations. We have one equation that is given in the problem itself. We have another equation here in the second statement, we have two independent equations and two unknown. Therefore, we should be able to solve for both the variables. Second statement by itself also turns out to be enough. The answer is D. Again, just to satisfy our curiosity and just for learning purposes, we can actually do it out. It doesn't take that long. So from here, we know that G equals 80 times 80 minus N. Or rather, N equals 80. Either way is fine. Since we are interested in graduates, let's express everything in G. So from here we have N equals, this first, here we know that non-graduates plus graduates is our total survey, which is 80. Therefore N equals 80 minus G. Put it back in here. N equals 40 minus G. Let's put it in here. So 80 minus G equals G plus 40. Bring the G's on one side and bring the numbers on the other side. So if you bring the G to that side, we end up with 2G equals 120. And wouldn't you know it? Something has gone completely bizarre. Okay, we bring G to that side, that's 2G, and then when we bring 40 over here, it's 80 minus 40. You see, this is how you catch yourself, because just now I put down 120, I think it was. And then we came up with the graduates of 60, which we know is not true, because in the first part we said just the opposite. We said the number of graduates is only 20, number of non-graduates 60. The two statements have to be consistent. If they're not consistent, something has gone wrong. That's how I caught myself. So 80 minus 40 is going to be 40. 80 minus the 40 is going to be 40, and therefore since 2G equals 40, G equals 20, the same conclusion that we arrived in the first statement. Second statement by itself is also enough. We then actually, again, we did not have to actually do it out together, because we just have to simply realize that we have two independent equations and two unknown. There is no reason why we cannot solve it. No matter how simple or how complicated the solution may be, the point is it can be done. We don't have to really actually do it. We just have to be able to answer whether or not we have sufficient data sufficiency. I'll see you tomorrow, okay? Bye now.